Of the show for today. We're talking to Dr. Leonard Madu, and the topic is Cuba. And Dr. Madu has given us some information relative to how the United States became involved with Cuba. And of course, Dr. Madu, let's see if we can pick up at that point and further develop our discussion on Cuba.
Yes, because of the policies, chosen by the Castro government, which was anathema to our own government, the Eisenhower administration, and subsequently, the Kennedy administration, started plotting to overthrow the Castro regime. This, led to the infamous or famous Bay of Pigs invasion, which in Spanish they call Bahia de Conchinos, Bay of Pigs. The invasion failed, of course, and after this, the Soviet Union as then came in. Khrushchev was leader of the Soviet Union at that time. They came in to support Cuba. So they put in missiles, all around the island. This was a threat, of course, to our government here. Kennedy, upped the ante and said that the Russians should remove all the missiles. Otherwise, the U.S., would not hesitate to attack, Cuba. But after some negotiations, Khrushchev, had a quid pro quo. They will remove the missiles from Cuba as far as we removed our missiles from Turkey. This was agreed, and this calmed down the situation. And because of the embargo, we imposed a big quarantine against Cuba, which exists up to today. The Russians came in with about $4.4 to $5 billion a year to the Cubans in economic subsidies, oil, food, you name it, imports and exports. This continued until 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed and communism collapsed all over the world. Cuba was left lurching,
dry.
Exactly, dry and completely lost, And so that has been a big problem since then, since 1991 when this happened till, now Cuba, has lost all those economic sustenance from the Soviet Union. What happened was that because of that, the Castro regime started loosening some, controls on its economy, started allowing some little private enterprise here and there. And of course, Venezuela replaced Russia as the main supplier of oil, to Cuba. And of course, that oil wasn't free. It's free, but then you have 20,000 Cuban healthcare workers in Venezuela working for that oil, to Fidel Castro. And just to touch a little bit on that Guantanamo Bay, a lot of people always ask about it. How did we get there? Why? Yeah, we took it over from because of the Spanish-American War, and signed a treaty in 1903, to pay a yearly, amount to the Cuban government for that.